Welcome to YouVersion 2 podcast with me, your host, Brendan McCauley. And today we have with us Milko Kukov. Milko, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me on this podcast, and I'm happy to share my knowledge. So my name is Milko Kukov, and I'm a health and wellness coach and also life coaching. So because wellness covers, in my opinion, wellness covers like all the areas of life, and if to be well, you need to have all the other areas cleared. I've been doing that for full time for around 6 years, maybe 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, something like that. But I part time, I kind of do it for more than a decade, and I've all the things and tools I've searched and find and are all for myself mainly, so I can have the life that I want. And then also with the time, I learn how to share them with others so they can have the results that they want.
Fantastic.
So it all started with myself to find the ways that I can have the life that I want, and then I made it into a.
It all starts somewhere with a thought. One day, Milko thought, and then it became a realization. So thank you so much for joining us today, and it's our pleasure to have you with us. And as you said, we do want to learn from your experiences and share your journey with me and with our audience, and if they can help.
I would be happy to do.
Really appreciate it. So as I said, our conversation is about happiness, your personal life experiences, events and things may come up. Let it flow. If you're not comfortable with it, we can always remove it. But please relax and hopefully enjoy our moment together.
Yes.
So simple question to start off with, Milko. And it all means different things to different people. But what does happiness mean to you?
I need a second here. So it's very broad, and in the same time, it's very simple in my vision. So happiness means, like, from what I've seen and what I've experienced, one very important part of happiness is progress. Working on something, and even small results, even getting small results from something, it gives you this happiness that you're working. Another thing is also sharing moments, good moments with others. That's also part of the happiness, because of course you should be happy by yourself, but when you share an experience, especially when it's a happy experience, then the experience expands, and you feel it stronger. For me personally, happiness is also being able to do the things that I want with the people that I want, whenever I want and wherever I want. So it's
a good combination.
Yeah, it's like pretty much do what you enjoy. And so the problem is that maybe we'll go deeper into the conversation. We tend to attach our happiness to things and events like that, and that's what kind of.
And sometimes in my research or conversations with people and in life, I think, the world and the material things around us, a lot of the marketing and publicity, it's designed to confuse us, so we confuse and associate pleasure with happiness. So sometimes we can buy our way to happiness, from those pleasurable experiences. But there's a fine line, even chemically, scientifically, there's a fine line between the pleasure, dopamine hit, short-lived, and happiness, which releases serotonin in our bodies and things like that. And it's very interesting.
In my opinion, is so, and from what I've seen, and I've seen, like, I can say I've seen it all, almost, like I've seen such things in my life, but pretty much all the struggles I had and all the experiences and stuff that brought me to this place now. So I've been through quite a lot, and I'm not that old, but I've been through things that most people haven't been, and even 70, 80 years old. So that brings me to, and I'm really interested in what brings, like I'm obsessed with what brings, what makes the life better. And of course, happiness is one of the biggest part, because if you're happy, then everything else works much better and so forth. So when we attach ourselves, what I've seen is that pleasure doesn't really bring us happiness. It gives us, and also the material things and like and sex and stuff, they can kind of bring you happiness, but if they're connected with, they're part of something that will eventually give you happiness. For example, just so I make it clear, for example, you sex can bring you happiness if it's with the partner that you love and you have the experience, and also material things can bring you happiness if you if it allows you to have better experiences. For example, like even having a house, for example, buy a nice house, and you can gather with, it depends, of course, everyone's different values and desires and stuff like that, but pretty much let's say you buy a house where it's big, and you can also have money to help your parents or your siblings and whatever, and you can let's say gather in this house, have family,
invite friends around, have gatherings together, social occasions.
simple things like that. So I'm not saying that money and material things can't bring you happiness. They can be a part of it, because also lack of it can often
Bring
away
unhappiness.
yeah. It can really
it's very
drive
true.
you.
There's so much connectivity.
Yeah.
When we were talking about, happiness and what it means to you, you mentioned quite a few things, which is great insight. Can you recount the last time you felt really, really happy?
The last time, usually for me, it's very often is when I coach people, and I see that, because very often it's of course it's wellness and stuff like that, for example, health and stuff like that, but there is almost always a deeper reason. Like, not almost, it's always there is a deeper reason why you want to do, why you're overweight, or why you want to lose weight, and for example, or why you want to be healthy and stuff like that. And for me, it's what brings me really happiness, and why I do that is when I see someone, when kind of I coach them and I see in their eyes that they get it, and they're like, they have this
a light bulb moment, ding.
Yes, it's really like that really brings me happiness, and allows me to, and makes me feel that what I do is what I desire. Other thing, it's like yesterday the sunrise was incredible, and today, this morning also, I go for a morning walk, and such a beautiful sunrise that make me feel happy and grateful and stuff like that. So it should be, I realized that it should be small things also, not only focusing on the big things, because if we just wait for one thing to happen, then we are not really going to be happy and stuff.
You mentioned a good point there. Is appreciating the little things can make us happy. Little things throughout the day, each day, as opposed to 6 months ago I was happy because a big thing happened, and maybe in 6 months' time I'll be happy because another big thing will happen. It's just the little things of life, the little joys of life. You mentioned the sunset, things like that, and you also mentioned, I think you're part of a good, healthy morning routine. Getting up, doing a bit of exercise, as simple as a walk in the morning, hydrating ourselves, getting ourselves prepared for the day. That in itself completely changes our outlook and our mood for the day. And
Absolutely, yeah, it's more because of course it's good to have a big thing in mind and big goal and to wait for it to happen, so that can bring you more happiness. But then at the same time, if you're just waiting for this moment, it means that you'll be happy just in this moment, and then the rest of your life you're not happy. So
have you any tips for us, Milko, for good morning routines? Because of your exercise and health and fitness guidelines.
To give you I didn't understand. Can you ask the question again, because I didn't hear it?
Yeah. Have you any tips for us about how we should have a good morning routine?
Absolutely. Also, so it depends if you are doing because it depends on your schedule, of course. But if you're going, if you have the ability, it's better to exercise in the morning. Do some, even if it's light activity or walking, that's very good. So when you wake up, I'll go a bit more into details. So when you wake up, first thing is good to drink some water. It's very important, like maybe even half a liter of water, just warm water, better. It activates the whole body and it helps digestion. It wakes up the body. It improves the organs. It helps get rid of waste and so on and so forth. So also you can squeeze lemon inside, fresh lemon, and with the water. So that's a great way to start your body. And then you can do some stretching. Walking is very good. Exercise. There is not, like, I would lie to you if I tell you this is one thing that you need to do and it will fix everything.
It's a miracle.
Because for everyone is different. It depends. It's like super like if you're doing some kind of labor or physical activity all day, then you can focus on lighter thing in the morning. If your day is sitting all day, then you can do something heavier in the morning, and then throughout the day move more and stuff like that. But all the movements like stretching, walking, exercising, even sports, if you can do it in the morning, it's the best because it activates everything. It helps you get rid of stuff and stuff like that. It's the best, but water is very important.
Yeah. And whenever as I started to realize some of these things, and generally in my conversations, it's the realization that some of these things that are good for us are so simple. It's not like, oh, we need to go and do some big, amazing, miraculous thing, and we need to invest so much, and it takes a lot of time and effort. Now, it does take diligence and creating a good habit, because as you said, waking up first thing in the morning, we are 70-80% water. We need to hydrate ourselves. The first thing we should do, drink water. And as you mentioned, not necessarily cold water, but lukewarm water is good for us. And that extra bit of lemon or honey, etc. Just so simple, such a simple thing, but it can do so much for us. And even that little burst of energy from walking or doing a bit of exercise in the morning, it completely changes our morning. And whenever I have the discussion, I'm sorry to use an example of my family all the time, but that's my reality. I try to, when I sort of realizing, okay, here are some things I should do, and then I do them, I try to suggest it to them, because people say, oh, I'm not a morning person. Of course, I've been there. I'm not a morning person. I don't like getting up early. But when I started to change that approach and say, well, why am I not a morning person? Change the word, change the approach. Get up, be grateful, be thankful, hydrate, go for that walk. It just changes.
Sorry, I lost my audio. Sorry. I lost for some reason my audio. So
let me know when you're back.
Do you hear me good now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, okay, because something happened with my audio, just turned off everything. So I heard that you small changes, and after that, what did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, so I can work from my own personal experiences. So I was looking at ways to how can I become a morning person? Because even my kids say, "Oh, I'm not a morning person. Don't talk to me. I'm tired and cranky." It's like, yeah, but let me suggest some things you could try. You know, when you wake up, be grateful that you had a good sleep, that you had a bed. Drink water, hydrate yourself. I started going for walks in the morning. Um, just appreciating what's around me, the nature or the birds singing, and that little routine in the morning, it sets you up for the day. You have a different approach to your day, and if you can continue that attitude of thankfulness, whatever, throughout the day, well, you're going to have a much better day than if you start the day. I'm not a morning person. I'm dragging myself into work. I hate my work. I can't wait to go home. It's just a downward spiral. Whereas the simplicity of hydrating our bodies and a little bit of exercise can do wonders to ourselves.
That's what people don't realize actually, that, and I'll go also to the morning person because it's my favorite. I'm not a morning person. Yeah, people don't realize how much effect does movement and healthy life, how much effect it have on our life, and not only like physically how you look, because that's what most people think, that if you take care of yourself, you just look better, and for most people that's not a motivational enough. uh, but actually it has such a strong impact on your mood and on your productivity, on your desires, on your motivation, on your everything, on energy in general. Because if you don't have energy, it's very hard to be happy, because you can, if when and also the other thing is when you're sick. So that's this why for me I've noticed that, not only for myself, this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I've noticed that not only for myself but all the other people, when they're sick, like especially when it's something severe, it's everything else goes away, kind of. And that's the, as they say, the uh, healthy person have 1,000 dreams. A sick person have only one, to get like healthy again. So
Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, the mind focuses a lot more when in those circumstances sometimes.
yeah, then it becomes, of course there's stuff that but all the time, if you're not healthy, it always affects you. It affects your energy, it affects your mood, it affects, like there was this study that they did of the I'm not sure if it's called Supreme Court, or the judges that give, that are the highest in the court, like I don't remember exactly, that usually they make some very serious
Serious
decisions.
decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was the study that if they have a nap and a snack, it's like 80% more likely to give a positive uh, sentence than
Judgment. Yeah.
yeah. So it's such a small things. It's just a nap and a snack, and 80% different. It's like,
And that little element there, they mentioned about 40 winks, or that a little break during the day, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes of a snooze, it actually can regenerate and re-energize us for the day. And you mentioned
absolutely.
having that snack. There's some things in my own career and working life, I've seen so many, and I've done it myself. Thinking, okay, work through the break, work through the lunch hour, eat at the desk. And we think we're going to be productive as a result of it and get more done. Whereas actually we're being counterproductive, because we're not allowing ourselves to have that break, and we're continually working, and our energies are just going down, down, down. Well, we need that break. It exists for a reason. So anyone listening, I encourage you, if you're at your job and you have a lunch break, get out of the environment you're in, go for a walk or do something if you can't, but stop doing what you're doing just to have a break, because that's a key thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's proven that first, every uh,
So the break doesn't need to be a nap. Actually, it's better to be active. Even 5 minutes just stretching and doing some light activity. It doesn't matter what it is. Just uh, climbing the stairs or in the office or whatever. It increases the productivity significantly, and your mood and your energy and stuff like that. And it also there are many studies that are proven that the best, if you want to boost your productivity, you need to have every 50 minutes of work, you need to have at least 5 to 15 minutes of break, which is stretching and or walk or
So
movement or
everyone, you
something.
heard it here. It's official. Science says after 15 minutes you need a break. So make sure you do it.
Yeah, it's really it boosts the productivity. I'm not sure if it was more than 60%. I think it was
No,
at least
I fully
60%,
agree.
something like
I fully agree, Milko, because myself and from talking to other colleagues and other people in a similar space, you you need that. You just need to take that break. You need to get into habit to have that even if it's 5 minutes, just to pause and then get back into it. Because sometimes you just go, 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 and you're drained. You're physically drained. But
absolutely.
something we were talking about various things and healthy lifestyle and things like that, and happiness and etc. And some things that I've done recently when I moved to Italy, I tried it in Ireland. I wanted to try and grow my own vegetables, etc., various things.
Right.
And the Irish weather's not the best for good growth. And
Yes.
also, I think the soil in my garden wasn't the best. But when I moved to Italy, of course, the first thing I want to do was go and prepare a garden space. And that in itself, I realized, brought me a lot of happiness to me. Just the joy of
Absolutely. Yeah.
working outside, the joy of preparing the bed, the vegetable beds, and then seeding, nurturing, watering, and then having the harvest. And there's so many analogies I can apply that to our lives, and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
but one of the things is, and I'm trying to lead down to get some advice from you. Is there any particular advice you can give me or others that when we eat fresh vegetables or food, they're so good for our bodies, and the nutrients we get from them can help us and help our energy and help our mood and fill us with vitamins, etc.
If to give you advice what to eat, or sorry, I
Oh
didn't.
no, just the general, the
The
healthy
idea, yes.
benefits of.
So first, to tell you, because it's very important for our health and mood and happiness. So one of the best thing you can do for yourself, not everyone, that you can do for yourself, is doing some kind of activity in nature. So, like as you said, even for the garden and stuff. So that's one of the best thing you can do for your health and for your mind and mindset and energy and everything. So there's so many benefits for happiness too. So nature, we are created to be in nature. So uh, being active in nature, like you get all the possible benefits of what you're doing. So it's one of the best things you can do is being active in nature. So because I'm not going to go now into details, but there's so many things like air, energy. Okay, I'll give you a simple
Observing the
example.
beauty of nature, I've found is.
Absolutely. So, for example, I will give a small example, and I'm not going to go into details because I can talk about it for hours. So, just the green. So, the green color, that is the color of leaves and forest and nature in general, is the resonance frequency of the eye. So
Mhm.
what does that mean? Pretty much it means that when you look at the green, like the natural green in the nature, it kind of serves as a massage to our eyes. So it's kind of release the pressure, and it helps them work, and it's so fascinating. It's so simple. Nature is like everything is made for us.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Another example is, for example, water, like maybe the sea, to hear the water, the sound of the water, like the white noise, we just say. It's also the river, for example, or the sea, or any kind of leaking water. It's also the resonance frequency of the ear. So it's also, when you hear it, when you listen to it, it kind of serves as a massage on the ears. That's the simplest way I can explain it. So and that's the most basic things there, and there's so many other things: the breathing, the air, the energy, the electrical charge, and stuff like that. So
I couldn't agree with you more.
That's the best thing you can do, and most people don't realize that actually spending time in nature makes you, and being active in nature makes you much happier, much more resilient, much more. Everything is much easier to go through, like challenges you take. You're more you're less reacting to the external environment, so you're more calm, you have more time to think and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. It's like that's the best thing someone can do, is daily spending time in nature, even if it's 5 minutes. And if you're active in nature, this is why I love skiing, for example. But that's another topic. So another thing that just for the morning person, because it's on the back of my mind.
Yes.
So the morning person, that's I don't believe that's true. I think it's all habits. Of course, if you 50 years you've been night owl or whatever they call them, of course it will be harder for you to go to the morning routine, but it's very easy to go through it. And as they say, you're not tired, you're uninspired. Because for me also, I've trained myself to be a morning person, and the days that I for some reason, and fortunately it's very rare, the days that I feel shit or something happened bad, and it's harder for me to get up. But most days I have a plan, I have a thing that I want to do, I have something that drives me out of bed. So most days when I wake up, I just can't even stay in bed. Sometimes I think stuff like just to go through the things in my mind, but most of the times I just want to get up and start doing stuff. So that's
when we have that plan ahead, and I want to do this and I need to do that.
And something inspiring. Of course, if you need to get up and go to the shitty job that you hate, and you hate your colleagues, you hate your job, you don't get money and stuff like that, of course you wouldn't want to get up. Of course you are not going to be a morning person.
There's a challenge.
You need to find something that inspires you, and also I'll go later in that. But
fantastic advice.
Happiness, we need to. So in my opinion, I'll go a bit sideways here, but in my opinion, you need to. I like the independency. So what do I mean with that? So when it comes to happiness, I need to find a way to be happy by myself with the things, and like whatever happens outside, to be happy. So that's not easy, but everyone can do it. And that doesn't mean that I will be alone and I won't be happy with anyone else. It means that if I am alone, then I can be happy. And then that makes you first make other people happy, and also allows you to enjoy even more happiness when it's shared with others. So, but if you attach your happiness to someone or something, then as like from what I've seen, people come and go, things come and go. And it's the life. So you can
very good.
Today you're with some person, and tomorrow you're not. You don't know what is it. Maybe they even like the worst thing, they die. And you can. And what does that mean? That you'll never be happy ever again?
Life is a journey, and as you say, circumstances change and people come and go. I love what you were saying earlier on about the nature thing in the water, because as an example, where I live in Turin in North Italy, so it's a city, but it's close to the Alps mountains and it's not too far from the sea. And what are the two things people love to escape to at the weekends when they can? They love to go up to the mountains and they love to try and get down to the sea. And the things you mentioned, the escape from the city, the concrete mass, the buildings, to green open environments, to blue skies, to locations with lakes or rivers, running water, waterfalls, the sea. Completely couldn't agree with you more, because where I live now compared to where I lived before in Ireland, I'm surrounded by forest close by and a nice green garden. And when you go for a walk, especially at this time of the year in spring, all the blossom of the flowers and the leaves are starting to come out, and it's just beautiful. It just is so soothing for us as humans. And I would say that I have found myself, I've been healed the last 2.5 years just by being surrounded by nature, by appreciating it, by observing it, by listening to it. It's beautiful. I would fully encourage everybody and anybody to take some advice that Milko has given us, and the simplicity of it. I want to enforce, guys, the simplicity of some of these things are life-changing. It's free to go for a walk along the river or in a park. It's free to drink water. Well, in most countries, some places you have to pay for it. But I really appreciate that, Milko. It's so true. It's so true. And of course, if some people don't believe and they want to go and find the proof in the science, well, the science exists. Go and
or
satisfy your curiosity.
they can test it themselves. Just go 1 week somewhere in the nature where you're away from work and stuff, and you'll see. No matter who it is, unless you're just thinking about work. And but simple example, because you said city and concrete, and I'll go a bit. So imagine energy-wise, let's say, and I'm not talking about spiritual energy and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into this now, but so if you're in the city where it's busy, and I'll answer your question about the food with that kind of. So if you want to be alive, because when you're alive and you're happy, when you have this energy, you have this vibrancy, then you're happy. And if you want to be alive, you need to get life energy from somewhere. So, and good energy. So in the nature, it's life. Like when you're in nature, everything is alive, everything is moving, everything is energizing, let's say, happy in a way, because animals are not like us. We can stay stressed for very, very long periods of time, where animals usually they're stressed for a short period of time when there's a situation, life or death, and after that they're super calm. So all this calmness, you get it back to you. And then you have the city environment, where it's the concrete. There is no nature, especially in big city. There is no nature. There's just the concrete, the gray color. Even the colors, most cities are gray and dark colors, suppressing. Everyone is super stressed and always in a hurry, and all these things come back, because when everyone around you is stressed, it's very unlikely, it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that you won't be stressed as well. All these things, all this negativity kind of affects you, because we are we are social beings. So we tend to it's in our survival instinct to adapt to the environment. So if if you're surrounded by stressed people and you're super happy, then you can be kicked out, let's say. So
you're not in our gang, you're too happy.
yeah, that's our primate instinct. So that makes us kind of match the others, so we get more stressed and more healthy. And of course, the opposite is true again with the nature.
And it's hard. it's hard to fight against that impact as well. If you're trying to
Absolutely.
be positive and maintain, when you're constantly bombarded by this, it's not easy. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
easy.
it's like you don't really realize it, and even if you realize it, it's hard to really notice it, because you notice it when you go and you see the other thing, like you go in the nature and you spend some time there, and of course you're not with the stressed people all the time, which usually it's just think of when you go, because you said that you're close to the mountain. Think when you go in the mountain for a walk, and the people that you see there. How often people are moody and sad and looking the ground and not saying anything. That's
Yeah.
it happens, but it's like one in a million. Where you go in the city and most people, if you smile to someone, it looks weird. It looks like you have some issues, mental issues or something.
What's wrong? What do you want? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. What do you want? Are you selling me something or something like that? So that brings me to the other thing that you said about the vegetables and fruits and stuff. So one of the simplest way to see it for the food, what to eat. If you want to be alive, you need to eat alive food, food with life. So if you eat that food, then what you're getting, we have this expression, you are what you eat. So
Yeah.
if you eat like fruits, which are fruits, vegetables and plants in general, then you have more life. And it's I'm not going to go into details about the physical effect that is exactly what it
Yeah.
is. So you
It'll
eat the
have
dead food,
knock-on effects.
inside everything dies. You eat the live food, everything thrives inside. So water is a perfect example. That like water is so necessary for life, and good water. Like if you drink the water from the mountain, it's completely different than the water in the city.
True.
Even if
True.
it comes from the mountain, all the pipes, all the energy. I'm not
Yeah.
big
It
into
gets it
energy, but
gets affected.
yeah, it's all this negativity, all this emotions, stress and busyness and stuff like that. So that brings us to the food. And if you want to be alive, you need to eat live foods. So I'm not talking about, because I know there are some Chinese practices that they eat the brain of a live monkey or whatever it is. I'm not talking about eating live animals or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about,
the simplicity of fresh fruit and vegetables, and okay, depending on where you live, it might not be possible, but
absolutely, yes.
in this day and age, in a lot of our markets, it is possible to get it, and it's certainly, I would encourage people to look more into the fresh fruit and vegetables, and depending on where you live, also something I observed, especially here, is the seasons. And there's different fruits and different vegetables in different seasons.
Absolutely, yes.
And that is nature's way of just showing us, eat these fruits and vegetables, and it reinforces you through that period of the year. Do you know, like in Italy, orange season is when? October, November, December, when we need more vitamin C in our bodies to counteract the harshness of the winter.
Absolutely,
It's amazing. If we just follow some of those things, it's amazing how it can help us.
absolutely. It's like, as I said, it's nature is made for us. So everything, but the thing is, we are separating ourselves so much from it that we lose our instincts. But as you said, seasonal fruit and simplicity. It's simple. So the simple foods, we always search for this superfood or something like that, which is complete bullshit. We don't need superfood. We need the simple food that are available, like for example, seasonal ones. So raspberries, because it just came to my mind, because you said orange. So raspberries are proven to serve as a natural vaccine against the flus. So
and they're very tasty.
yes, and if you for example eat it just for the period that is seasonal, the season that you have them, it gives you like it serves you as a vaccine for a whole year. So until next year, the season. So if you eat them, you know, you don't need to eat them all the time for you to be healthy. And that's just a simple example. But
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
said, oranges and stuff like that. So it's very important. Of course, depends on the country, and nowadays everything is available everywhere all the time. But yeah, if you can follow, and simplicity is the key for life. I would say for happy life, for great life. So it's a key for health. If you do simple things like eat simple foods, you don't search for superfoods. You don't need the supermarket foods that are full of all kind of stuff that are packed and stuff. Just eat the simple foods that you know where they come from, kind of. At least you
Yeah.
think you know, or in the most simple way, not to go through 10,000 processes to make it taste nicer or something like that.
Very good
Also,
point.
exercises. If you keep with the basic exercises, you get the results. Simplicity, like in life, most things. I actually recently did a post about it. So most things in life are simple. Not most. Everything in life is simple. So the things that are not simple, we are overcomplicating them.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So instead of asking yourself why is this so hard, or why is this not simple, ask yourself, how can I make this thing simple? Doesn't mean that it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the things in life are simple, not easy. They're very different things, because
Yeah.
usually we tend to search for the easy one, and usually the simple thing is not the easy one, but the hard thing almost always gives us the long-term result. The easy thing gives us the short-term pleasure, but long-term suffering, where the hard one is a short-term suffering for long-term pleasure. And that's
Yeah.
what we need to understand. Uh, and also not bringing me back to the happiness, that we shouldn't search happiness in temporary things, and search for the long term things that will give us. So I'm not talking about focus on one thing that will help you in life, but not focus on something that will give you pleasure at the moment and then make you suffer, like food, for example. Food is the
Yeah.
great example. You eat shitty food and you gives you pleasure because that brings us to food and
Sugar hit or
movement.
the rush of the moment
Yeah.
of that.
So enormous part of our emotions come from our gut, and also our health, like our sicknesses, diseases, come from our gut. So
Mm-hmm.
pretty much this why when you stuff yourself in the short term, it makes you feel nice when you eat all these chocolates, all this. And I'm not talking about not eating them, but just when you stuff yourself, and it's like every other addiction.
Yeah.
And but the moment,
Sometimes too much of a good thing can be bad.
yeah, yeah, kind of, yeah. So it's like every addiction. So you eat the food, for example, that's your mood at the moment. So you want to make it better with some simple pleasure. So simple pleasure brings it a bit, but then it smashes you down.
Oh,
So it
yeah, 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 yeah.
puts you here, and you stay. The more you use it, the more you stay on here. Like cigarettes, for example.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are proof that they help you feel calmer while you're smoking them, but the moment you stop
Yeah.
smoking,
It's a sudden
like
drop.
the moment you remove the cigarette, your stress levels increase. Like you become much more stressed than you were before smoking, and then that makes you want to smoke more. And the same with the food, with every
You're
addiction.
caught in the loop. You're caught in the
Yeah,
cycle.
there was one book very interesting. They were saying that smoking is like, and also other addiction, it's like hitting your head with you're hitting your head in the wall, so it's not hurting when you stop hitting it. So like
Yeah. Brilliant.
so the same is with the food, the same is with the simple pleasures. If you just focus, usually simple pleasures give you a little boost and then put you into the hole, where the hard things, when you do the hard things, they may be a little suffering for a short time, but then you level your level goes up significantly usually. So your life, when you take care of your health, you make some harder choices sometimes, which are not really hard if you know what you're doing, but that's another question. But it gives you like this short-term hardships gives you a long-term pleasure, long healthy life, and
Yeah,
much
it helps you in the long term. And I've come to realize or appreciate so much more the phrase "your health is your wealth," because when you look after your health, you're looking after your body, you're looking after your well-being. Then you've less sicknesses and illnesses. You've less time having to go to the doctor. You've less time having to go to the hospital, and all because we're being mindful about what we consume and put into our bodies. Because, as you said, so much comes from our gut feeling, or their sickness, or what, so many things. But what I've taken away from our conversation, Milko, because we could have went down so many avenues of discussion and focusing on this or that happy, or do you have worries, or what makes you happy, and all these things. But our health and our well-being and exercise and food, and we take, again, simplicity. Look after ourselves, look after the things we eat, exercise. Our bodies have muscles, they need exercise, our vibrations in our body, energy. That all contributes ultimately to our well-being, to our personal happiness. So, happiness it's not just about, oh, I'm happy in this moment because I did one thing. It's maintaining that and keeping a healthy, balanced lifestyle is one thing. And one of the biggest things I'm taking away from today in our conversation, and it reinforces my own beliefs, is the simplicity of it. But until I got to that realization of the simplicity of it, we overcomplicate things in our life. We overcomplicate our lives. But when we break it down to the simplicity of what we actually helps us, just listen to that advice we got as kids. Listen to that advice that people tell us, and challenge yourselves. If we don't believe it, I would challenge anyone to take on some of these tips for a week, for a month, for a day. Just do something different from your current routine, and trust me, it will benefit you. I would certainly say the water one. Like, I remember people saying, "Oh, you need to drink 2 liters a day." I said, "How can you drink 2 liters a day?" I constantly with water around me, and we need it, but it does so much benefit to us. And the nature, I love the nature thing, Milko. It's fantastic. And I encourage everyone, even if there's a park beside your office or wherever you are, just try to have that break and go out into that nature, or have 5 minutes of pause. But simplicity, the simplicity is what I'm taking away, Milko, and it's inspiring, and I really appreciate it. And I could have asked you so many different questions about different ideas or different objectives, but our health is our wealth, and looking after our personal physical bodies and ourself is one of the things we should do and do more of. So really appreciate your insights and advice on that. Now, just to wrap things up, I have 2 simple questions for you. You can answer them quickly or short answer or long answer, up to you. Very simple. What is Milko grateful for today?
I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have to reach people, even because at the end, even if I manage to help one person, it's still worth it, the time and the effort and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And how are you making the world better?
How am I making the world better? I help people find.
That's enough. You just said it. You help people.
Yeah, I pretty much. It's just in my head. It's so broad because I'm making a world better, or at least I think I am. It's by helping people understand their true value and the power that they have inside them. So, of course, health is very important part, because, as I said, if you're not healthy, you can't really everything else. It's falling apart. It's much harder to deal and be do the things that you want to do when you're not healthy. of course, it's not impossible, but it's very. So this is why health is an enormous part of what I do. But my whole mission is to help people find what like their true power, understand how powerful every single one of us is, how much more control we have over our life, because that simplicity is very important, and most people don't really they think that even taking care of your health takes so much more effort than it actually does. If you know what to do, it takes so little effort, and it pays back significantly. And always the hard things take much less effort than we think, and the results are so much greater than we think. So I want to help make the world better for myself and for the others as well. Because if everyone around you is good, you will be good as well. And that's how I see my greater mission. But it almost always starts with the health, because if you're not healthy, it's much harder to do anything. So what I do is pretty much I coach people first, helping them take control over their health and their wellness in general, and of course they get fitness. When you're healthy, you get fit.
It leads to other advice and life-changing opportunities.
So, it's just simple. The thing is, the things are much more simple than we think. As you say, simplicity. So if how I help people is teaching them how to take control over their life and their health. And so they don't need me. I help them and teach them how to do the things, so they don't need me to be there to like guide them all the time and hold their hand, so they can take control.
Milko, how can people find out more about what you're offering and advising?
So they can go to my Instagram, which is Milko Kukov, and my YouTube channel. I recently started it, so there are not that many videos, but I'm still working on them, which is also Milko Kukov, MILKO KUKOV. So they can find me. Of course, I have a website and stuff, and I have some free things, but it's all in the Instagram and in my YouTube channel. They can see what are the free things that they get.
I want to thank you for the opportunity of speaking to you today. I want to thank you for doing what you do, because the more people who do that, the more people out there helping others. And when there's more people helping more people, then more people realize that if they help people, so we can create this knock-on effect to help and impact the world. And I really appreciate what you do. I appreciate what you post and the advice. And for me today, and hopefully for our listeners, I really appreciate the points that you've made. And for me, I'm taking away that keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it real, but don't overcomplicate things in our lives. But I just want to finish up by thanking you so much, Milko, and I'll put some of the links in the in our final product so people can see where they can find out more about Milko. So for now, Milko, I look forward to
very much for this.
But I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for this opportunity again, and thank you for what you're doing as well, sharing the knowledge and of other people and yourself and your experience and stuff.
Yeah, and because we all have a story to share.
Absolutely, yeah. So it can help someone else.